In this video, I'm going to be teaching how to draft the basic pants or trouser block. So if you are interested in it, kindly watch till the end. And don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos. So let's get started. I'm going to be using this brown paper for the drafting. So first thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 1 inch from that point in. So just mark 1 inch in as I am doing, and this is going to serve as our borderline or guideline for the drafting. So after marking, connect it with a long ruler or a ruler as I am doing to get a straight line. And then at the upper part, I'm going to be repeating the same step. That is, mark 1 inch down and then connect with my ruler to get a straight line as well. So that new line is going to be the beginning of our waist. So that is our waistline. And these are the measurements I'll be using: the waist, hip, knee, ankle, and then the trouser length. So I'm going to be dividing my waist by 4. I have 7.25. Hip by 4. I have 10.5. Knee divided by 2. And then the ankle divided by 2. So the knee and then the ankle, you are going to divide it by 2. And then the waist and then hip by 4. And then I have my trouser length, which is 39 inches. And then to get the crotch depth, you are going to be dividing the hip by 4. So 42 inches by 4, I have 10.5 inches. So those who don't understand the meaning of the C, that is the crotch depth. Crotch depth, that is what I'm writing down there. So the waist, or from the waist to the hip, is where we get the crotch depth. So I'll be indicating it on the brown paper for you to see. So the first thing we are going to be doing is to mark the hip divided by 4, that is 10.5, to get the crotch depth, and it's from the waist to the lower part. So this is it. I'm going to be marking my 10.5 over there. After marking, next thing I'll be doing is to connect the points together to get a straight line like this. So on the crotch line, we are going to be marking our hip measurements by 4. On that same crotch line, that is where we are going to be marking our hip measurements. So as we know, the hip is 10.5, that is 42 divided by 4, and then I'm going to be marking that 10.5 on the hip line, or the line we got for the crotch depth. And then on the waistline, I'm going to be marking that same 10.5 and then join those 2 points together to get a straight line. So after the straight line, next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 2 inches from that point out. After marking the 2 inches out, from that same point, I'll be marking 2 inches up. So you're going to get something like this. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to connect from that point to the other point. It's going to be a curvy line, so You can use your armhole curve or any curve you have to curve it this way. Next thing I'll be doing is to come in from that point 1 inch. So mark 1 inch in and then connect to that point. So you need that curvy part at the front of the trouser to make it look good or better. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to divide my waist by 4. I have 7.25. So from that new point, I'm going to be marking my 7.25 over there. 7.25. That is for the waist, and then after that I'll be connecting it with my curve to the hip line. And then at that point, I'm going to be reducing it by 1/2 inch. I'll be going down from the center part of the waist 1 inch and then connect to the side of the waist. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to divide that line into 2, the hip into 2. So whatever measurements you get, you are going to be marking that through to the end or to the hem of the trouser. And then after marking, I'll be connecting the points together with my ruler to get a straight line. So now this brown paper is too short to get my trouser length, so I'll be adding up to it. This should have been done earlier, but it's okay to do it this way as well. So I'm going to be adding brown paper to the brown paper I have and then mark my trouser length from that point, which is 39 inches, and then I'll be adding 1 inch. You can add either 1 or 2 inches to it for folding. So assuming you're adding 2 inches to 39, you're going to get 41 inches, and if you're adding 1 inch for folding, you're going to get 40 inches. So whatever you want to add, you go ahead and then add it. So now I'm going to be dividing that line into 2. That is from the hip line to the hem of the trouser minus the 2 inches I added for folding. So I'm measuring from the hip to the actual length of the trouser minus the 2 inches I added for folding. So note that. So I had 28.5. I'm going to divide it into 2 and then mark it on that line. So if you divide whatever you get, mark it or divide that line into 2. So after the division, I'm going to be marking 2 inches up from that point to get my knee line. 2 inches up. After dividing it by 2, you're going to come up by 2 inches to get your knee line. So after marking, I'm going to be drawing a straight line to get my knee line. And then the measurement for my knee is 17.5. So I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 8.75. So that 8.75, you are going to divide it by 2. I'm going to divide that 8.75 by 2. And you are going to be marking half of that on each side. You're going to be marking half of that on each side so that at the end of the day, when you measure from both sides, you are going to get your 8.75. Just divide it by 2 and then mark half on both sides. Next thing I'm going to be doing is divide my ankle by 2, which is 6.5, and we are going to repeat the same process we did for the knee. So divide it by 2, and then you are going to be marking half of that on each side of the knee line. So I'm going to be marking half of that on each side, and at the end of the day, when you measure, you are going to be getting the actual measurements. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to connect from that point to that point, and from that point to that point with my curve. After curving that point, from the knee to the hem or the ankle, I'm going to be using a straight ruler to connect the points. So I use the curved for the hip to the knee, and then from the knee to the hem or ankle, I'm going to be using a straight ruler for that. And then I'm going to be doing same to the folding allowance. So whatever you got for the knee, mark that same thing on the allowance for folding and just connect the points together. So now we have our waist, hip, knee, and then ankle on our brown paper, and that's all for the front. So at this point, I'll go ahead and then cut out. I'll be using the front pattern to draft the back. So this is all you need for the front basic pattern. So after cutting out, I'm going to be using it to cut out the back like I said. So you can see I added brown paper to the hem in order to get the length I need for my trouser, so you can always add up. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to place the front on another brown paper and then pin it down to prevent it from moving. So after pinning down, this is what I have. It's now time to work on the back. So on the waistline, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to it. So extend the waist by 2 inches, and then somewhere midpoint, I'm going to be marking that point and then add 1.5 inches to that point as well. And then on the crotch line, I'm going to be dividing it by 2. So this is how it goes. I'm going to be measuring this point, that is the hip divided by 4. So I had 10.5, and then after dividing it by 2, you have 5.25. So from that center line, I'm going to be marking that same 10.5. 10.5. Yes. So after marking the 10.5, I'm going to be drawing a straight line with my ruler. So extend the crotch, knee, and then ankle line like I have done. So after marking, make sure you have about 4 inches at the back. If you have a bigger butt or something, make sure you have about 4 inches, and then you can add extra ½ inch to it just in case of anything. So I'm making that part 4 inches, and then on the knee line, I'm going to be marking 2 inches, and then on the ankle line and then the folding line, I'm going to be marking 2 inches as well. So this is if you want the trouser to fit on the body. If you want it to be loose, you can make that part 3 inches instead of the 2. Next thing I'm going to do is to connect from that point through to that point. So you're going to get something like this. So if you are sure you have a straight or a defined line, you can go ahead and then draw it in well with your marker, pencil, or whatever you are using to work. So this is how the back looks like, and I'm going to be connecting from the hip line or crotch line to the knee with my curve, and then from the knee to the ankle I'm going to be using a straight ruler for that. So this is what I have for the back at the moment. And then on the waistline, I'm going to be going up by 1.5 inches. So just connect it. You can use your ruler for that, and then your curve to connect it to the side of the trouser, just like I'm doing. Next thing I'll be doing is to add 1 inch to the side. This is for that. Note, if you're adding that to the front, you have to add it at the side. But with this pattern, I didn't add any dart to the front part of the trouser. I'm only adding it to the back. So the difference between the front and then the back is I extended the waist up and then added that. The crotch was extended, the knee was extended, and then the ankle line was also extended. So at this point, I'm done with both front and back pattern. So let me finish cutting out and then show you what I've got or what I have. So after cutting out, this is what I have for both front and then back patterns. So this is how the back looks like, and then I'm just extending the lines at this point. So this is how the back looks like, and then this is how the front also looks like. I hope you enjoy these tutorials. Don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos.